right, well, we can go ahead and get started just to be respectful of everyone's time this morning. So thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Navigating Google's Latest Updates for Business Growth with Scott Clanin of Clanin Marketing. Before I hand it over to Scott, just a few quick things. You are welcome to ask questions throughout today's session. We just ask that you submit those via the chat box in your toolbar, and we will address those once Scott is done with his presentation. And you will also receive a follow-up email, and that will go out tomorrow. That will include both a recording of today's session, so you can go back and listen to any of the information again. And you'll also get a link to download a copy of the PowerPoint as a PDF. In that email, you will also receive links to all of our local organizations who are co-hosts on today's presentation, so you can check out all of their websites and what they have going on in the community as well. And then I'm also going to include a link to our events calendar. Scott and I just got done scheduling our last quarter of the year of sessions, and they are actually all going to be in person at the Champaign Public Library. So I'll include the link to our events calendar so you can check those out as well. So I'll go ahead and hand it off to Scott and we can get started.
Excellent. Thanks, Jordan, and good morning. Thank you for joining us for our Google Updates webinar. I'll be sharing my screen, so one moment while I pull that up. All right, Jordan, just confirm, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. All right, again, welcome. Today's webinar is a newer one, Navigating Google's Latest Updates for Business Growth. If you've joined us on one of our past webinars, welcome back. And if you're new, thank you very much for attending. This is a series that we do in partnership with the Small Business Development Center of Champaign County EDC and a handful of incredible local community partners. And with this program, we are providing free webinars throughout the year. And we cover so many incredible things to help you strengthen your marketing, your branding strategies for your business, for your organization, and more. So like Jordan mentioned, I also have a couple of housekeeping items. If you'd like a copy of today's presentation, you can visit our website at claninmarketing.com/workshops. Scroll about midway through the page and you're going to see a For Attendees section. Just fill out your name and email, and you'll get a copy of today's presentation. In addition, like Jordan mentioned, we just completed scheduling out all of our webinars or workshops for the rest of the year. So you're going to see that full schedule on our website. Again, all these are free to attend. So just check out the titles and descriptions. And again, you'll have that call to action button to register for the workshop. So my name is Scott Clanin. I'm the owner of Clanin Marketing. We're a full-service marketing creative agency based in downtown Champaign. And we serve clients all across the Midwest, doing everything from website builds, brand development, digital marketing, and more. Our company started way back in the day when social media for businesses was a very new thing. It was really the Wild West of marketing. And we helped businesses, organizations, companies at that time navigate the world of social, of digital. And as we started learning more about this kind of new form of marketing, we started learning all the really cool things that Google offers. And Google, a lot of us know Google for the search engine, but there are some incredible tools, most of which are free, that businesses could use to really elevate their presence online. But a lot of times we take the time to learn about these programs up front, we set it, we install it on our websites, and then we get busy with other things. Google and Facebook and all these other social media sites or digital marketing platforms are constantly changing. One of the updates that I have in here for you today, I was just notified on Tuesday that Google was making this change. So things are happening all the time. And so I think it's smart that you're joining us today. It's really nice to stay on top of what's happening in the world of Google. I will be sharing at least 4 different Google platforms with you today. Now, again, today is really to go over, hey, if you are already using this platform, here are some updates to keep in mind when you are diving through it. But if you are learning more about some of these platforms, we may in the future, in early 2025, have more workshops, webinars specifically on your Google My Business tool, specifically on Google Ads. We do have one workshop coming up on digital marketing essentials, where we will be covering a couple of these platforms a little more in depth And I do have a couple slides in here for you today that if you're not familiar with one of these platforms, I have a quick overview and some quick tips to leave you with if you want to go out and explore that platform. So let's go ahead and get started. These are the 4 platforms that we're going to be discussing today. Google Business Profile, formerly known as Google My Business, Google Analytics, free metric reporting tool that can tell you a little bit of everything that goes on behind the scenes with your website. Of course, Google, the search engine, some changes that we're starting to see in the search engine, and then one of my favorite tools, Google Ads. These are those ads that pop up at the top of Google search results, and you'll see in a bit, some of them are now sprinkled kind of midway through the page, which there are some incredible benefits of them doing that. So these are the 4 main profiles that I want to discuss with you today. Now, some of these updates I'm going to share with you may not be relevant for your business or for your industry, but really what I like about doing these updates, and Jordan and I try to do at least this webinar maybe once a year. It's not like these platforms are changing weekly by any means, but once a year is enough to really go through, hey, what are some changes that I think a lot of people, a lot of business owners, marketing managers may have missed along the way. So these are the 4 we're going to dive into today. So let's start with Google Business Profile. Again, this has had, let me take a quick drink of water here. This has had a number of different names over the years, but the one they're currently using is Google Business Profile. This is your business listing that comes up on the right-hand side of Google search results if you're using your laptop, your desktop, or at the top when you are using your mobile phone. We've all seen these. We've all interacted with these. It has a handful of photos on there. You have your business name, your reviews, your different ways that individuals can contact you, hours, etc. So again, this is Google Business Profile. So a little overview there. Really, it's an easy tool for business and organizations to manage your presence on Google. So a lot of times when it comes to Google Maps, of course, there are things that are auto-generated, auto-populated. Their algorithms are picking and pulling information and creating the listing. But having a verified listing on Google allows you to manage and update your listing. So for example, our office was closed on Memorial Day. I forgot to set those hours the Friday before to let people know if they were to Google our business, we were going to be marked, we need to be marked closed on Google. And so I just did it first thing Monday morning. I realized, oh shoot, I forgot to do that. I just did it through my phone. And in less than 3 minutes, I was able to mark the business as closed. And so it's a great way for you to manage all of your information online and make sure you stay on top of it. I've been to a number of different businesses where I've arrived and their hours on Google aren't really the hours of the place of business, or the menu is a menu from 2 years ago that they're no longer using. And so it's just really important to make sure that you are keeping your Google Business Profile, regardless of what industry you're in, updated. So some benefits: you can manage, of course, your information. You can interact with customers, responding to reviews, which is key. You want to make sure that you are responding to every review that comes in. And you can really understand and expand your presence. So you can see how you are showing up, how many people are finding you in the Google map. So there are some analytics and metrics on the back end. So a quick little overview of Google Business Profile. Again, this is what it looks like. This is your Google Business Profile listing on the right-hand side. So we have our company, Clanin Marketing, with a handful of different call to action buttons. There are your website directions, call, etc. It is verified, so you do see that blue check mark there, or that white check mark on the blue background. I manage this Google Business Profile listing, so we moved our office a couple of years ago, so that this is one of the things on our punch list that we needed to make sure we did, was update our address. So we went into our Google Business listing and we made that change. Okay, one of the updates that came out maybe a year or 2 ago, but I still want to mention because not everyone has caught on to this, you can update your Google Business listing on the front end of Google search results. So before, you had to go into a separate platform, your Google Business Profile platform, to make those updates. Now I could just go to Google, type in my business name, and you're going to see this little dashboard that's only available to you, anyone that's an admin on your Google business profile page. This is where you can edit your profile, adjust your bio, respond to reviews, add photos. Everything that you need to do is right here on the front end of Google. So it's a little easier to manage and get into. Again, they made that change a little bit ago, but not everyone caught on to that. So you can now go to the front end of Google and make your business changes. Some general tips before we get to some other updates. You want to make sure you are adding photos of your business. Try to add as many photos as you can. You're going to see that Google has areas where you can add exteriors of your business, interiors of your business, team photos, right? Great, let's add those in. The more that you provide to Google, the better, and you do have a better chance of ranking higher on the search engines when you are utilizing and completing more of your profile. Of course, like I mentioned, you want to respond to any and all reviews, the good reviews. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time. We'd love to hear that you enjoyed your experience with us. Or, hey, I'm sorry to hear that we missed the mark on this. If you could email us at blank, we'll make sure to make this right, whatever it may be. You want to respond to all those. Try to update hours as soon as you can, and really complete all those fields. So if you have seen your business show up on the right-hand side of Google, but you're like, I don't know if I manage that or not, or maybe an intern set this up a while ago, just go to google.com/business. Type in your business name in the search field. Again, it will walk you through the steps. And if your business shows up, it may be a populated profile, it may be one that was already claimed. If it was claimed by someone else back in the day, it will give you a hint to the email. So for example, my email is scott@claninmarketing.com. So it would probably tell me, okay, it's SC and then asterisk, asterisk at asterisk, 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 and then give you maybe like two little letters left.com. And they won't give you the full email for privacy reasons, but it kind of gives you a hint of who is the admin on that account. If you want to request access to your Google listing, Google will facilitate an email to that person saying, hey, so-and-so is interested in claiming ownership or administrative access to your listing. Do you want to approve it? Hopefully they still check their email and then they can add you to that. If it's not verified by anyone, you can go through the verification process on Google. That has changed as well over the past couple of years. Before, they used to send you a postcard in the mail, but now they are requiring you to do a video walkthrough of the business, if you will. So a quick exterior shot of the business showing that, yep, this is a legitimate business. Here's our sign on the door, sign on the building. So they've kind of tightened their verification process a bit, which in a way makes sense, because I would say a majority of us on the call, we all use Google for our search, and we probably use Google Maps when we are going places. Why? Because it's a high quality product. It's not, riddled with all these little errors. It's because Google is very tight with controlling the content that's on their map and that's in their search engine. So their verification process has changed. You can find all that information at google.com/business. Okay, so let's talk about some more updates. And again, some of these you may be using already, and others on the call, you may realize, hey, I didn't even know that was a thing. But one of the first things that we just learned this week, just on, I believe, Tuesday, is that Google is retiring the call history. So we've had a couple businesses use this. This is great for if you're like a roofer, a plumber, anyone that you're maybe accepting calls. Hey, I want to set up an appointment to get a free quote. This is good to see. Hey, did we miss any calls this week? What are the calls that came in? This was a feature that was launched during the pandemic in 2020. In the back end of your Google business listing, you can run a report to see how many people have called your business. Now, these are people that went to Google, saw your Google business listing and clicked call. It's not anyone that's just typing in your number. They had to call you through the call button in your Google business listing. Now, the call button itself is not going away, but the recording, the call history log, that's what's retiring. If for whatever reason you wanted to download a copy of your call history, you can do that in a separate program called Google Takeout. But again, at the end of the day, this is going away at the end of July. So they are moving somewhat quick on retiring this only 4-year-old feature. And it, from my understanding, they're doing it to, I guess, quote, streamline some of their services. Part of me wonders if maybe not a ton of people utilize this. Again, it is to me pretty industry specific, where if I'm a coffee shop, I don't know if I would really be monitoring my calls coming in. But if I'm a yard professional, again, a roofer, anyone who I'm going out to someone's home and I want to provide a quote for, and I do primarily want calls instead of email, this is kind of a nice feature to look at to see, hey, what are some calls that maybe I missed? Maybe I was on another line or whatever. This helps just kind of keep track of those call logs. So again, that is retiring July 31 of this year. Another sad update, they are also retiring the business chat. Now, again, this is I did black out some of the items on the left. Again, it just really showed the client or the business name, the people that were sending messages in. This was launched in 2017. You did have the option to turn this on. And so if I go back, let me go back real quick if you don't mind. Okay, right there underneath customers, you see that card that says turn on chat. That's the feature that's retiring this July. So we don't have it turned on for our business. It just doesn't really make sense for us. But we do have a number of clients that have this featured on. And because I'm an admin on their Google listings too, I sometimes get alerts saying, hey, this person is wanting to send a message to this business. So again, a little industry specific, but I have seen a number of businesses use this. So if you are using this, it is retiring at the end of July. It was a great way to kind of facilitate real-time conversations for businesses to answer questions, provide support, all through just your Google Business Listening. Again, if you want a message log download, you can do that as well through Google Takeout. I thought this was a pretty cool feature along with the call history. And it's kind of sad they're getting rid of things instead of adding new features, but it'll be interesting to see what they do in the coming months or year. Maybe they're working up to something that will be a little more beneficial to every industry that we could all utilize from your Google Business Listing. And again, all these are free. I mean, there's no cost to manage your listing at all online. It's just a great way to connect with potential customers just directly through Google. For those on the call who are maybe you're a cafe, you're a restaurant, you work in the hospitality business, they have made some changes in their menu section. So one of the things that I did not mention in here, but I think is coming, it's still in testing mode, is you could upload your menu. So you can not upload, but fill out a menu. So add some of your menu items in there. But one of the newer things is now there's going to be a couple more options to where, hey, do you want to link to a menu on your website? Or do you want to upload a certain menu? So they're going to be giving restaurants a little more flexibility with the types of menus they upload. And then something new is there's this new area called menu highlights. These are for people who, hey, I've never been to this cafe around the corner. Me personally, I always want to know what's the most popular drink or what's the most popular sandwich. So I go to, like, of course, old school Yelp or some photos that that I see on Google, but a lot of times they don't really have descriptions. I just have to kind of look at the picture and maybe guess as to what that is. Menu highlights are generated from customer reviews. So all these photos you really don't have any control over. These are photos that Google will auto-populate. You can't add anything to your menu highlights. It's just up to the customer. But you are able to submit feedback. So if you have, let's say, this is our client down in Nashville. It's a coffee shop. And these are some of their menu highlights from customers. And so one is the campfire latte. And so if I say, hey, actually, that's not the campfire latte, I can send feedback to Google. I can't make the edit myself. I can send feedback, but I can click update dish details and then put the dish name and then click submit. So I think a lot of these menu highlights, it's their algorithm or artificial intelligence that's probably picking and pulling from these, and it won't always get it right? AI is still pretty new. So if you, again, we do work in the hospitality industry, you do run a restaurant or cafe, look to see if maybe some of your menu highlights have populated, and then just cross-check them to make sure it's accurate information. This is going to help later on when we talk about Google's new artificial intelligence system and how they're integrating it into the Google search engine. So that's a newer feature. Business websites are being shut down. Again, a lot of sad updates really with Google Business Profile. I don't know if any of you on the call used a website through Google Business, but as you set up your Google Business listing, you did have the option to create a website directly through Google Business. That is no longer available as of March of this year. So again, if you are looking to build a website, actually Jordan and I have a great workshop coming up on a handful of different really good platforms for different budget types. But unfortunately, Google has shut down that arm of their business as well. And then not a major change, but just a slight interface change. This hasn't rolled out fully, but if you are looking to report a review, respond to a review, at the very bottom right, you had the little the vertical 3 lines icon there. That is eventually going to be changed to this little like attention exclamation point stop sign shape icon there. So not fully rolled out. So again, if you see that change, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's really the same thing. They're just doing a slight interface change there. Something new, yay, a new thing, is an amenity map. And I love this idea. This is great if you're a restaurant, a cafe, a museum, maybe you manage apartment buildings, or your business is just located somewhere where maybe your customers would like to go out and check out these items around your business. This is called an amenity map, and you can get to it again going to your Google Business Profile. You're going to see the card. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but you're going to see a handful of cards. Add amenity map, get more reviews. You have the little toggle left or right button there. You can toggle between these cards, but look for the one that's amenity map if this piques your interest. In here, you can create a custom map that you can add to your website, which is so cool. So if you're I don't know, let's just say a running shoe store is an example I give all the time. But maybe you want to show some nearby parks that maybe, hey, these parks have some running trails in it. You can add an amenity map to your restaurant or to your website that only shows the parks nearby. Same thing if you're a concert venue, or maybe you, event venue, weddings, birthday parties, etc., and you want to show available downtown parking near your place of business, you can just indicate, hey, I just want to show nearby parking to my place of business. It will give you a line of code. You can then add your code to your website, and now you have this custom map showing some nearby amenities to your business. So this is a cool feature. One that I'm excited about, that I think a lot of businesses, a lot of different types of industries could use this on their website. So yeah, fun new feature in Google Business Profile. Okay, so that really takes us through some of the main, let me get back. Some of the main updates that we're seeing in Google Business Profile. Again, a lot of times they'll trickle out some small changes, but these were some of the big ones with shutting down live chatting and call history, but adding this to amenity map. They've made some minor improvements to how you add photos to your gallery. I think they used to have really strict photo sizes, and they've kind of eased up on that a bit. But again, great tool. It's free. If you haven't checked out Google Business Profile, definitely check that out. Okay, let's head over to Google Analytics. If you've been in my webinars, you've probably heard me talk about analytics. This is a really, really powerful tool from Google, and this is also free. It can be intimidating. It can be overwhelming to go through it all. But what's great is that if you love numbers and data and metrics, this is the platform for you. It's going to tell you everything that you want to know about your website, how they've interacted on your site, what pages they've interacted with, how they got to your website. But most importantly, how can you use that data to make informed decisions in the future. So anytime we're redesigning a website for a client, we're asking them, do you have some existing metrics that you can send us so we can have an idea of how people are currently using your website? I don't have a whole lot of updates for you in analytics. We'll get to those updates here in a second, but let me stop here real quick. Just a quick screenshot of your analytic reports showing, okay, underneath direct/none, here's, okay, August 1, 2022 to the end of August compared to the previous month. And you can see, number 2, we saw an 85% increase in people coming to this website from Google compared to the previous month. That's a pretty nice jump. So we can work backwards and figure out, what did we do? Did we have a campaign running at that time? Did we have more brand awareness things in the community, bus boards, billboards, etc.? How are people finding out about us, and where are they coming from prior to getting to our website? So Google Analytics, a really, really cool platform. A couple tips: install this as soon as possible. It won't start collecting data until you install it. Take some time to understand the interface. You'll see in one of the updates, they did just recently update their entire platform, and they're on a whole new version of analytics. So even for me too, it has taken some time to really understand where is anything anymore. And then run the reports that you feel would be relevant to your business. A lot of times it's general traffic reports, source reports, mobile versus desktop. Super important if you are going through a website design. How many people are accessing your website on a desktop versus a mobile device? How many people over the past quarter have hit your website and they've been new first-time users? All these reports are great if you report to a supervisor, if you report to a board of directors. I know that marketing sometimes can be a hard thing to report on, but these are tangible metrics that we could say, hey, not only did we run this Facebook ad, but this ad generated X amount of clicks, we got X amount of impressions, and thanks to this Facebook ad, we have a 25% lift in new first-time users to our website over the past quarter. That's an incredible metric report, and Google Analytics can help you bridge that metric gap. Now, I will say, you don't need Google Analytics to access reports and metrics on the back end of your website. A lot of times websites have built-in analytic reports, and they're good too. A lot of times they're just nice high-level reports. But again, if you're one that really wants to dive deep into some of your metrics and pull out a whole bunch of stuff, Analytics is a great platform. To get started, you're going to go to analytics.google.com. Couple of quick updates. Again, I don't have a whole lot for you today, but I thought it'd still be good to mention because it is a great platform, and they did make a major shift just last year. So they shifted from Google Analytics, it was called Universal Analytics, UA, and they shifted over to Google Analytics 4. Where did the 4 come from? I think it's version 4. I don't know. The previous one wasn't called 3. So anyway, it's Google Analytics 4 now. That launched midsummer of last year. If you remember, or maybe your web developer installed Analytics back in the day, just see did we make the shift to Google Analytics 4? But again, if you haven't set up your Analytics account, any new analytic account that you do set up, it will automatically be on Google Analytics 4. So your old Google Analytics account, the UA account, is no longer reporting. You're going to see, I think after July of last year, it just stopped. So any report after July, like end of July 2023, it just zeroes out. There's no more metric reporting. It still is kind of confusing to me. I don't know why they couldn't just use the same Google Analytics platform and just make some refinements and updates to it. But they just completely shifted to a whole new system to where you had to reinstall Analytics on your website. The only other major update, honestly, since Analytics 4 is there is a way in there where you can run a report and then export those reports. I do this all the time when we are compiling, hey, we're running this campaign. Here are the metrics that we received over the past quarter. We're going to download that as a PDF. Minor change to this, if you're one that uses a lot of Google products, you are now able to export your data into Google Sheets, which is kind of crazy to think about because it's a Google product. And why did it take forever to download to Google Sheets? No idea, but it's available now. And you can still export these as a PDF or a CSV file, whatever works for you. So again, analytics, great platform. Jordan, I don't think we have one coming this year, but maybe in 2025, we do have one in our library just on analytics. But it's a really, really cool platform for those metrics and data. All right, let's segue over to Google search. And this is going to be a game changer. This is going to change how all of us uses Google. Google launched their artificial intelligence platform called Gemini. And I'm still learning about Gemini. I'm not an expert in Gemini at all. And even as you've seen, Google updates things so often, and it is a lot to stay on. So I don't even like using the word expert because I'm constantly learning these platforms as well. But Gemini is their artificial intelligence platform. It's a whole standalone platform that can do its own thing, but they are integrating it into a couple of Google products. The two that we're talking about today is Google Search, and then they've integrated Gemini into Google Ads. Artificial intelligence is going to change the way all of us work in the next 5 years. We use artificial intelligence daily now in our company, and it has streamlined our processes. It's made us work better, faster. It's improved a lot of processes here on our end, and not only for business, but just in our personal lives. It's really, really going to be a game changer. So I'm going to show you how Google is connecting Gemini to their search engine. And I don't have a whole lot of actionable items for us today, but it's one of those, let's keep this in the back of our minds, because I think it's, like I said, it's going to change the way we all use Google and how we search for things on Google. Okay, we may have seen this so far, but when you type in something into Google, you're going to see at times, not all the time, because it's slowly still kind of rolling out, but artificial intelligence takes search engines to a new level. So AI, these computers, these very sophisticated systems, can understand your query and summarize it very quickly. Your standard way of Google search, and we're going to talk about this on, where's my note card? On November 20th this year, we do have a workshop all about search engine optimization. But your standard way of searching, you search for something, and then we get a list of different options, right? At the top, we have Google search ads. Those are your paid ads. We're going to talk about those next. Below, we have all of your organic listings. There's no money behind those. That all comes down to how well your website is designed, okay? So that's the traditional way of Google search. You type in something, there's keywords, there's queries and phrases that then Google will say, okay, this query matches a lot of the keywords on these websites. We're going to rank these in order. I always like to say, think back of like an old school library card catalog. That is basically Google. Google has already done the searching for us. They've indexed and organized everything very nicely. So when we're doing a search in Google, honestly, we're not even really searching the live internet. We are searching Google's card catalog that they've already searched for us, and then they give us all of your top rankings, okay? Now, artificial intelligence will be able to almost have, I don't want to say a conversation with us, but a more in-depth and thorough result, if you will. So let's look at the example on the right. Find the best yoga or Pilates studio near me. So before, let's just say the traditional way, I type that in, and what would come up? A map would come up, and it would just have some locations near me, and then of course, a listing of some yoga studios and websites underneath that. Pretty standard. And eventually I would find probably one that I would like. I would have to do a little digging, a little hunting, a little summarizing to find maybe the best yoga or Pilates studio for me. But look what's happening now. This And again, that little star icon that you're going to see next to the AI overview, that's the Gemini mark. So you know if you see that little diamond, that star icon, that's artificial intelligence. So this is AI overview. Here are the 4 yoga and Pilates studios in Boston, rated over 4.1 stars within a half-hour walk of Beacon Hill. How cool is this, right? It's familiar to us, right? This is still Google, but now they're taking our results up a notch. So they're summarizing it. They're giving us some of our best results. And then again, if I wanted to continue to explore myself, I can scroll down and I'm going to see some other listings. This is why it's so important to update, manage, encourage people to leave reviews on your Google business listing, because I really believe artificial intelligence is going to be looking at that when it does compute summary results for a user, depending what their query is. Because with this, they're looking at distance. You know, hey, these yoga studios are located here within Boston. They're looking at star rating, 4.1 stars. So if you don't have any stars at all for your business, or maybe you have had some upset customers and your star rating's pretty low, maybe let's think of some strategies later this year to start bumping those up to get ready for more of this AI summary results. So again, quick example here. There are, again, it's hard to tell how this is going to impact things. Here's a quick example that I typed in just yesterday. So I'm getting into gardening in my backyard now, and so I have a raised bed that I built this year, and I just typed in tips for raised bed gardening, and here is another artificial intelligence overview, AI overview. Here's some tips for raised bed gardening: location, soil. I can click show more, and everything is right there. I have not left Google. I am not on anyone's website right now. I'm not reading a blog. I'm not on anything. I'm still just on Google. I may find this useful and then leave. How is that going to impact Google search results, right? This could reduce click-through rates, because in this example, let's say one of the local nurseries here is Prairie Gardens. Great nursery here in Champaign. Maybe let's just say one of their strategies is to become an expert in their field. They might want to write a blog of, hey, here are the 10 tips we have for raised bed gardening. It's a blog on their website. So if I was to type this into Google, and if their website is designed well and they have a lot of good keywords on it, that blog article may come up at the top. Perfect. And I might click on that, hit their website, realize, hey, they have a lot of this for sale. Go over and buy some of the plants, buy some of the material to make the raised bed. It's a whole process, right? In this case, in this example, I type in tips for raised bed gardening, and here's everything that I could probably find in a blog on someone's website. But again, I haven't left Google yet. So this is something I think we should all keep an eye on. I'll certainly be monitoring it and seeing if we need to have a whole nother workshop and kind of training session on Gemini and how to adjust your website. So it's AI friendly, if you will. It's again hard to say. But there are some negative impacts. I think there are, of course, some positive impacts where it's providing high quality, in-depth content. These summaries may serve as a gateway. Okay, let's get a general idea, but now let's explore this topic further. They're going to keep scrolling and then maybe find some other websites or topics later on. So again, positives, negatives. The AI is going to be integrated into our daily lives here very, very soon. And again, this is looking at the right-hand side screenshot, this is just completely different than your typical search. What I'm seeing here, these tips, I had to go into a website, go into an article just to find this, whereas now they're giving me a summary of it right away. So I think this could really be a game changer here in the future. All right, and lastly, I want to talk about Google Ads. This is one of my favorite tools to use for really any type of business size. Now, of course, it works if you're a business to consumer, B2C, so you're selling directly to consumers. It can still work for business to business. For example, our business is a B2B. We could certainly run a Google search ad on just website design. So if someone's just typing in like local website designer, there's a good chance that we come up. So again, it can work in both industries quite well. It really depends on what your goals are and what your keywords are. Again, this, what I like about this platform, and let me actually, now we'll get to that screenshot here in a second. Okay, I think a lot of us on the call have probably played around with boosting posts on Facebook, advertising on social media. Awesome. When we do that, though, we're getting in front of someone who may have a potential need for your product or your service. But again, they're just sitting on the couch on their phone scrolling through Facebook. They're not actively searching for what you have to offer. It's still a great strategy, though, advertising on social media. It helps build brand awareness, increase storytelling about your business. What are some of your unique differentiators? There's a lot of benefits of doing that. But they may not reach out to you right away. Google Ads is a great tool to where you can show up when someone is actively searching for that keyword or actively searching for a phrase or whatever it may be, depending on what you have to offer, product or service. What I love about Google Ads is that you only pay when someone clicks the ad. So it's a cost per click campaign. When you do something traditional like a billboard, a bus board, and again, there's certainly a time and place for those mediums, you're paying for the impressions, the number of eyes that are on that piece of content. So traffic counts, how many cars pass that billboard, the bus route, how many eyes they project are on their buses every day. But in this case, you could still do an impression-based, and that's called impression-based, the number of times it's shown. You could still do an impression-based campaign on Google Ads, but a lot of people do cost per click campaign, a CPC campaign, and you only pay when someone clicks it. What I love about all of this, there's no long-term contract. You can start it today, end it tomorrow if you wanted to. There's no commitments, there's no penalties. You're in control of the schedule, which is awesome. There's two different types of Google search, or I'm sorry, of Google Ads. On the left, Google search, where to print pictures. Here's a Google ad for Snapfish, save 50% off on photo prints shipped directly to your door. That's your headline. At the bottom, this is your little description here. There's a photo that comes with it. This is new. We'll talk about that. And at the bottom, these are some of your extensions or call outs. 90% off 4x6, 65% off photo prints. There's some incredible savings here. They want to call this out and then link this to a certain page on their website. So that, again, on the left, Google search. On the right, this is Google display. So these are showing up on third-party websites that hosts a variety of different ads. So I'm not 100% positive this is coming from Google, but I'm pretty confident. So Weather Channel, you'll see at the top, this is your headline banner image, Vistaprint. So Vistaprint did not call Weather Channel and say, we want to advertise on your website. This is all pulling from the Google search platform, okay? So there's two different ways to get your ads out on the internet. Some general tips, make sure, again, it's really good ad copy. So one thing to think about, and again, we have a whole separate webinar maybe early next year on Google Ads. I definitely recommend you looking into it. But clicks is one thing. And if I said, hey, you have, or you generated 10 clicks on your website, to your website this week from Google Ads, what do you think? You know, you might be a little confused that, well, is that good? I don't know, is 10 clicks? If you got 10 clicks and the ad was shown 20 times, incredible. You have a very high, what we call click-through rate. If your ad was clicked on 10 times and it was shown 500 times, you have a very low click-through rate, okay? A CTR is what we call it. You can monitor and get all those metrics on Google, and there's different CTR averages for all different industries, so you can find what your average is. So if you're seeing, hey, we have really low click-through rates, pause the campaign, adjust your ad copy, or you're creative. If you're running Google Display Ads, something isn't hitting, right? Something isn't resonating with the people that you want to get in front. Utilize ad extensions, site links like you saw with the photo one, monitor campaign performance regularly and make adjustments. That's the beauty of digital, is that you're not locked into anything and you can make adjustments along the way. To get started, you're going to visit ads.google.com and we're going to go over some updates. So hopefully, maybe a handful of you on the call have utilized Google Ads in the past, or maybe it's on your goal list for this year to maybe test the waters of running a small Google ad campaign. Awesome. I love that. So a couple updates just to keep in mind. One, Google is slowly rolling out this new kind of feature where they're mixing our ads with organic results. Organic meaning non-paid. These are just your regular listings that show up on Google. Before, all of your Google ads were right at the top. The top 2 or 3, and you would see it says sponsored or ad next to it. And then you go to all of your organic listings. Now, they're playing around with mixing these between. Honestly, I think this could be a win-win on both sides. It's good for the advertiser. I think that's why they're doing it, to encourage more clicks, because a lot of times people just bypass those ads at the top right away and they just go to the organic. So now they're sprinkling these in between. If there are some really good ones where it's like really good ad copy and it's kind of between some 2 organic listings, it could be good for organic rankings as well, as people might scroll down a little bit further on the page just to kind of see where all their results are. So this is a one new update that I'm excited about, this kind of mixing of their Google ads. A newer feature too is recommendations. So if you're using the Google ad platform and you're like, I just really don't know what I'm doing, Google will sometimes email you and say, hey, like we'd like to set up a call and just kind of like review your account, and that's awesome. But they also have this really cool recommendations tool where it's almost like a game. You want to try to get to 100%. And right now on the screenshot on the right-hand side, you can see this one is at 60%. So what do I do to try to get this to 100%? They're going to give you a whole bunch of different recommendations that come with percentage changes. So if you implement this recommendation, we're going to increase your optimization score by almost 12%. Really, really cool stuff. It's really good to monitor this. A lot of times they will add some keywords they feel would be beneficial. And if Google is recommending I add some keywords, I'm probably going to take that recommendation because they know what people are searching for. And at the end of the day, they want this to work for me, because if it works for me, I'll spend maybe some more money on Google Ads. So this is a really cool platform, a really cool tool within Google Ads to help you optimize your campaign. So even if you really have no idea what you're doing, it's pretty intuitive, and Google's going to help you get off and running. A couple other updates before we kind of open the floor for questions. They do have a new feature now called Performance Max. And so I mentioned that it's pretty intuitive. When you do set up a Google campaign for the first time, you're going to choose your objective. And for a lot of us, it's website traffic. We want to get people over to our website. And before, you had to pick, do you want this to be a search campaign that comes up in the Google search results, or a display campaign? Or now you can do a mix of both, and that's called Performance Max. Google's going to walk you through and set everything up with you. It's super easy to do, but this is an exciting new feature that they have come up with. And going back to Gemini, you'll see that little diamond, that little star icon there. They've integrated AI into Google Ads. So if you've struggled with writing copy, which I know sometimes is a struggle for all of us, because it's like, how do I say that we're a great company? Or what keywords or phrases should I use? Try AI. What's really cool now is that you can give a Google Ads your website. It will scan your website and come back with, hey, here are some services we think would be good to highlight. And then they pulled in a description. From there, it wants me to generate headlines. So when we're talking headlines, think back to that screenshot of the photo business where it had that long headline. You can give Google a handful of different headlines and they will switch that headline out depending on what people are searching for, which is really cool. However, if you're like, Scott, I don't know what to write, I hear you. I've had those days too. you can click generate headlines, and then Google is going to generate a handful of different headlines for you to pick and choose from. What's great too is that you can just test it, see if some of these work. If you're getting good click-through rates, perfect, keep on trucking along. But you're going to see that little Gemini icon. Again, that's where artificial intelligence is being infused into the setup process. And again, it's really to help us get off and running if we're hitting that kind of creative roadblock. In addition, you can also now upload images, as you saw from the initial screenshot, which is really cool. I have not tested this yet. This is also very new, but it can help generate some artificial intelligence designed images, which is just kind of crazy to think about. And that image will again be paired with your Google search ad. So that's something new. It's before with Google search ads, it was only just text-based ads, but now they've incorporated that little image frame next to it to really draw your attention more to that ad. So really cool stuff, again, really to help you get off and running with Google Ads. Okay, we have about 10 minutes left, but I do want to leave you with some additional resources. Two of them, Grow with Google and Google the Keyword, are some nice platforms where they have some blogs and resources on case studies, best practices for utilizing a lot of Google products. And then, of course, if you're interested, I certainly recommend exploring Google Ads. It does cost money. I mean, yes, it's a free platform to get up and running, but you do have to allocate some money to run those ads. But because it's a cost per click campaign, at the end of the day, you're getting people to the website. And you're paying anywhere, it could be anywhere between 80 cents to $3 a click. It really depends on competition and budgeting settings, etc. At the end of the day, someone went to Google, was actively searching for a product or service that you offer, saw your ad, read it, and it resonated with them to the point where then they clicked it and hit your website. What a great process that is, right? And to me, yeah, I would spend $1.50 on that person because they're in an active buying mindset where, hey, they have a high chance that they're going to reach out. So definitely check out Google Ads if that sounds interesting to you, and keep some of those updates in mind, along with all the updates that we shared with you today as you go through your Google Business Profile. Again, try to fill out as much as you can with a Google Business Profile, because I think that is going to talk to the Gemini platform a lot as they start integrating that more into Google search. So upload photos, add some good keywords, fill out your bio, encourage good reviews, or just encourage reviews in general on your business. And I think that would help you in the future. So that's what I had for you today, a quick crash course in a variety of Google updates that we're seeing in 4 of my favorite platforms: Google My Business, Google Analytics, Google Search, and Google Ads, both the Google Search ads and the Google Display ads. So I hope some of you have already started utilizing these platforms. I hope today was helpful and just kind of keeping a finger on the pulse of what's happening in the world of digital, what's happening in the world of all these great, powerful Google platforms. So I'm going to hand it over to Jordan to see if we have any questions, and we'll go from there.
Great, thank you, Scott. Like Scott said, lots of great information. So I also know that some questions may not come to you right away. So if something comes up after the fact, please feel free to reach out. Of course, we're always happy to help. I also know sometimes if you revisit the information, there might be something you didn't catch, or if you're trying to implement one of these or something like that. So always happy to help, whether it be Scott or Madeline here in our office, our SBDC director. But we actually don't have any questions submitted right now. So I will go ahead and wait a minute or two here and see if anyone. We did get a comment, which is spot on. It says, good information. Google is in our lives, whether we like it or not. Nice to know it's
true. Yep, that is a good point.
And like Scott said during the session, I know he mentioned websites a little bit. So I went ahead and dropped the link to that workshop that we're doing. It's in September, and it's choosing the right website platform for your business. So if that's something, maybe you lost access when Google made that change, or if you're starting from scratch or looking to refresh or whatever that may be, please feel free to join us for that one. And I think we had some people jump on, so I am going to reiterate too, you will get a follow-up email tomorrow that will include a link to the recording and the link where you can download a PDF version of Scott's PowerPoint. So if there was something you missed, if you came on a few minutes later, whatever it may be, you can check out that information again, and I will include links to our upcoming events too.
Perfect.
All righty, well, we don't have any questions, so we can go ahead and wrap up today's session. Thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you so much, Scott, for presenting.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. We hope to see you in one of our future ones, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.